Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carl Braun, and I'm the Manager of Business Services for Workforce Solutions World Capital Area. I want to invite you and thank you for coming to our program this afternoon for the celebration of National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And we are, this is our second year doing this, our second annual event. And we are so very, very happy that you've chosen to join us this afternoon. We've got a great speaker today. She's from the Small Business Administration. Her name is Nina Simone. Nina Simone currently serves as the Public Affairs Specialist and Veterans Business Development Officer for the U.S. Small Business Administration, San Antonio District Office. Nina started her civil career in 2012 with the Department of the Air Force as a contract office representative. Nina is responsible for developing various communication products to increase visibility and awareness of SBA programs and services to the community, as well as planning and participating in veteran-focused training and education events. Nina is also a decorated U.S. Army veteran who's still serving in the U.S. Army Reserve as a public affairs mass communications specialist non-commissioned officer. She holds a business management degree from Wayland Baptist University. Nina is a native of Texas. She's from Rockport, Texas, is married to Robert and has two beautiful children. When not working, Nina and her family volunteer their time with the Austin Boxer Rescue Group. So Nina, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm going to turn over the controls to you. Thank you.
All right. Let me go on and share my screen real quick. Okay, and like you said, my name is Nina Ramon. I am with the U.S. Small Business Administration. I work out of the San Antonio District Office, and I'm excited to be here today. The SBA, if you've never heard of them, was created in the 1950s to help entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs be able to start and grow their business throughout all life cycles. And we've been really busy during the pandemic, especially as we work through with the PPP loans and economic injury disaster loans. So I'm really looking forward to doing this because it's been a while since I've done a business plan, general business entrepreneur related training class. So let me get into this. Like I said, I work out of the San Antonio District Office. Our service area is 55 counties within Central South Texas, and we share the state with five other district offices, as you can see on the map. And just about every state there is a SBA district office, and some of them have more than one, like Texas. And then we're broken up into different regional offices. So wherever you go, and even into the territories, there is an SBA office and SBA representatives that are there to help. All right, so for individuals with disabilities, entrepreneurship can be a powerful mechanism for success. And the SBA works to ensure every individual, especially those in underrepresented communities, can access non-traditional pathways to success. We have partnered with our sister agencies like the Department of Labor Office of Disability Employment Policy and to help launch the next generation of entrepreneurs with disabilities, and working to combat many of the barriers which lead to widespread unemployment and underemployment within the disability community. And just real quick, this is a topic that really is near and dear to my heart. I have a cousin who has some disabilities, and she really had a hard time finding employment, steady employment. And there are many pathways to entrepreneurship, and she found her way to success through entrepreneurship. She actually ended up taking over another business, buying a business that she was working at, and now she is she has a successful dog grooming company over in East Texas, and I couldn't be more proud of her. There's a lot of people think of entrepreneurship as, I've got to start my business from ground up, and you don't always need to. There are many ways that you can get into entrepreneurship. Of course, starting from the ground up is one of them, but you can go into franchising, or you can buy a business from if you're working within a business, working within a company, and you know that they are going to be taking stepping down, retiring or whatever, you can buy that business from them. But every business, no matter what pathway that you take, it all starts with a dream. And turning that dream into reality requires a lot of confidence in yourself and your abilities, and that grit and that knowledge. And there's a lot of times when you're not going to know everything going into small business, and that is it's kind of like the fun and exciting part about it. There are a lot of people out there that are willing to help you and that are available to help you. And the SBA has a lot of those resources, and I'll get to that towards the end of the slide. But so one of the things that when you're starting a small business, there are a couple of questions that you need to ask. And one of them is, what drives you? What is your why? What is going to make you get up every morning? If you're going to be starting a business or thinking about business, like why? That is the very key question, because that is going to help you continue on and move forward, because small business is hard. It's not something that is easy. It's almost easier to get up and do a 9-to-5 than it is to do your own business. And if you have that why, that motivation for you, it does make it a lot easier, because it keeps you, keeps that drive up. Let's see what else here. So entrepreneurial success. This was based off of a poll. And these were what people felt were the top 10 talents that drive entrepreneurial success, or behaviors that drive that entrepreneurial success. And it's like business focus and having that confidence, and that knowing that sometimes that you're going to fail at some things, but being able to pick yourself up and continue going, to be creative, those out of the box thinkers. You can't just because it's the way that it's always been done isn't the way, isn't always going to be the successful way or the way that works for you. And I think that's what's so great about entrepreneurship, is that you really are your own boss, and you can make your own rules with it. And another one is the delegator. That is one of the hardest things for a lot of entrepreneurs to do, is to be able to delegate some of those tasks. A lot of times, especially when I'm talking to my veteran businesses or my aspiring veteran business owners, I tell them, it's like, you're going to end up putting on blinders, and you're not going to be able to see what's left and right, to the left and right of you, and you're just going to keep going. And you're going to be missing a lot of opportunities because you can't. You're very narrow focused, and but when you have the ability to delegate some of your tasks, like if you're not very good at finances, we'll find somebody who is good at finances and delegate that task to them, so that you're not so focused on being able to do that one thing. And of course, knowledge seeking and being independent. There's always something more that you can learn and do, and that is a great thing. The promoter. Oh, sorry, I'm over here clicking buttons. What did I do? One moment. Technical difficulties. I can't find my mouse. Hold on. Okay, back to where I was. Sorry. It wouldn't be 2020 if I wasn't having technical difficulties on a Zoom meeting, right? So promoter, nobody's going to love your business as much as you do. And so you've got to be able to go out there and promote your business. And sometimes that is hard. And if you can find if that's not something that is in your wheelhouse, if you can find a partner that has that love for the business as much as you do, then delegate to them to be the promoter for it. And then relationship building, networking is extremely important. In the South Central Texas area, there's a lot of networking events that go on in Austin and San Antonio, and there are and now there's a lot of virtual networking events that are available. Oh, I did it again. Sorry, hold on. Okay. And then being a risk taker. I had a friend tell me one time, he goes, do you know what the definition of entrepreneurial is? And I was like, I mean, the obvious definition. He goes, no, it's risk taker. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that seems legit. I can understand that, because you really have to be able to take that risk, to take that step into entrepreneurship, because small business is risky business. So now I'm ready to go to the next slide. And this one, some of the things that can impact a small business and their success. And the one on the very top is lack of planning. A lot of people just, think, oh, I can start a business. It's no big deal. I can do this, but don't really take the time to plan it and do that business planning. The business plan is extremely important when you're starting a business, because it really is your roadmap to success. It's going to tell you what you need to do, when you need to do it, and how you need to do it. And if you are, if you have poor credit, that is something else that's going to impact your business. Because a lot of times when you're starting a small business, you do need access to capital. And a lot of times people go through that more conventional route, which is through a bank. And if you have poor credit, then banks are risk adverse, and they're not going to want to lend. Failure to seek outside help, like I said, mentorship is huge. Lack of experience, of course. If you've never been a small business person before, you're not going to know it. So having that support there for you, and seeking that mentor, that advisor, is going to definitely help you out. Poor management skills. Again, if you know that this is something that is not in your wheelhouse, find somebody that can assist you with managing your day-to-day, managing your finances, managing your personnel if you have personnel. If you ignore your customer, especially now with everything being so internet-based, a lot of it's going to, when I go out to any business or to a restaurant, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at Yelp, and if I see on there that customers put on, they weren't very, their customer service was horrible, and I'm probably not going to go there. And so you definitely want to make sure that you take a lot of these into consideration, because that can adversely affect your small business. So next is this. I thought these were very interesting stats, and usually when I am in a live audience, I ask the question before I put up the slide. But it takes about 3 years for a business to be in business before they really start making money. And I see this happening a lot. People don't really look at their finances, and they don't really look at their numbers, and they go out and they, let's say it's a lawn care business, and they get a bunch of jobs in, and they got all this cash flow coming in, but they didn't take into consideration what their startup cost was. They got their website up and running, and that takes money. They had to go buy some equipment. That takes money. They had to pay their employees. That takes money. And so just because you have all this cash flow coming in, it doesn't necessarily mean that your business is afloat, that you're making money, because you have all these other things that you need to pay for. And that is one of the biggest issues that I see with businesses, especially startups, is they don't quite understand how that cash flow works. And a lot of times they get discouraged, because they're like, oh, I've been in business for a year, I should be making money. But it really takes about 3 years for everything to kind of level out. And so you can see that net growth. And in this slide here, 7 out of 10 businesses survive the first 2 years of business. 5 out of 10 survive the first 5 years, and 3 out of 10 survive the first 7 years of business. So when I say that small business is risky business and small business is hard, it most definitely is. And it takes a very special person to do to become a small business owner, but it can be very, very rewarding. So here are some of my favorite quotes. The first one is, and some of you may have heard of this, if you fail to plan, you planned to fail. It's from Benjamin Franklin. And then from Dwight Eisenhower, in preparing for battle, I have always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. So kind of what I'm getting at on here is if you're going to go into business, you can't just shoot from the hip and think that everything's going to work out. You really have to plan what it is that you're going to do. Find that why, find what your business proposition is, your value proposition, know how your cash flow is going to work, understand how you're marketing, how you're going to reach your customers, what kind of products or services that you're going to offer, and exactly who are your customers that are going to buy this product or this service. It all takes a lot of planning. And of course, it all starts with a good idea, but after that, you've got to really develop that plan. So speaking of business plans, and that's one of the main topics of this presentation, is business planning. It is one of the most vital things that I think any entrepreneur or business owner can do, especially when they're first starting out. And business planning isn't just something that you do in the very beginning. It is something that you continue doing. And even big corporations, like Walmart or the Targets or JCPenney's, they do have some sense of a business plan. A lot of times they call it a strategic plan, operating plan, but it is some sort of plan that's going to take them from point A to point B in their career, whether it's the short-term goals or the long-term goals. When you're doing your business plan as you're getting started, there are some of the things that you need to take a look at in your plan. And first and foremost is your concept. Like, what is it that you're going to go into business for? And are you starting from the ground up? Is it something new? And why are you going to do it? And then look at some of those industry descriptions. This is part of like all your marketing portions of it, your industry descriptions, your marketing analysis. Let's say you're going into the food industry. What are some of the trends within your food industry? How dense is the market that you're going to be in? And are you you should start up a restaurant? Okay, well, the 5-mile radius of where you're wanting to put this restaurant, the 10-mile radius, what other businesses that are similar to yours are in that radius? And what is the economics of your small businesses, looking at those profit and loss statements and looking at all of your financial documents that you're going to need, and how much money it's going to take to start your particular business up. How much money is it going to take to keep your business running? What does that look like? Your marketing strategy is, how are you going to reach your customer? And of course, first you have to ask, well, who is your customer? And you have to get down to the specifics of, my customer is, males between the ages of 23 and 43, and females the ages of 25 to 35 that make a median income of $40,000 and live within this 5-10 mile radius. That's how specific that you need to get your market analysis done, so that you know who you're going to get to. And so if you determine that, okay, approximately mid-20s and mid-30s, male and female, this is my target market. How do they get their information? So that's that marketing strategy. Are they looking at billboards? Are they listening to the radio ads? Are they on the social media? If they're on social media, what social media platform are they primarily on? Then it goes into your operations. Exactly what function is everybody going to do in your operations? Are you going to be, a lot of times when you get started, as a small business, you start off as the CEO, the CFO, you start the janitor, the maintenance guy, the delivery person. You started all those people. But when you start planning, you can say, okay, as we get to this stage, then this stage, the next stage, we're going to add new people on. We're going to add a new management person into this so that we can expand our operations. And then one of the things that a lot of people don't take into consideration are some of the risk and the assumptions. With everything that you do, there's going to be some sort of risk. And you need to kind of know those risks. If anybody's heard of SWOT analysis, that is a great way to kind of take a look at what your risks are. And the SWOT analysis is your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Strengths and weaknesses being more primarily towards the internal strengths and internal weaknesses, as well. And then your opportunities and your threats is really looking at more of an external audience. And so what could possibly hurt your business? What could possibly help your business? And a lot of times when you really take a look into it, it's not what you expect. And then the timeline, when, having that, that outlook, like within 6 months, I'm going to be here. 1 year, I'm going to be here. 5 years, I'm going to be here. Those financial projections, if you're going to need access to capital, you're most definitely going to need those financial projections, especially when you're starting out. If you're going to go to a bank, the first thing that the bank is going to ask you is, where's your business plan? And they're going to take your business plan and they're going to go straight to the financial projections, because banks are in business to make money, and they need to see that if they're going to loan you money, that you're going to be able to continue operations and pay back that loan. And they'll be able to see that within your financial projections. And they need to be like reasonable projections, not more of like the lofty, dreamy, like, oh, I wish I'm going to be making $1 million in 5 years. If that's not a realistic goal, the banks are going to be able to see that and be like, sorry. And then offerings, there's, what is it that you're giving to your customer? Do they want it? Do they need it? Is it, and how are you offering it to them? And it could also begin to like your sales and your promotions and things like that. All right, this next one is the business model canvas. And this is probably one of my favorite business planning tools. So when you're first getting started, having to put together a business plan can be a bit cumbersome and intimidating, because a lot of times people think of a business plan like it's going to be some kind of novel. And so that's one of the reasons why I love the business model canvas, is that it's really just a one-pager to see if your business opportunity is going to work out for you. And it's all based on this book right here called The Business Model Generation. It's a great book. I actually picked this up from Half Price Books. It's a very visual representation of what your business plan would be. And I'm a visual person, and I need to be able to see that. And the first thing that you're going to fill out here is your value proposition. Is if you're going to sell a product or sell a service, what problem are you solving or helping your customer? That why is that customer going to come to you for this particular need? Then you're going to go into your customer relations. How will you get and keep and grow your customers? And there's some interesting stats out there about your customers. And I can't think of it off the top of my head, but your primary customers aren't going to be new customers. It is going to be the same customers that's going to help keep your business afloat. So you've got to be able to keep those customers and then still grow customers at the same time. And then you have your customer segments, and it's continuing on to what it is that your customer needs, and then the channels and how you're going to reach your customers. And so I like to think of this chart as kind of like cogs, and how they all kind of work together. And so blocks 1, 2, 3, and 4 are kind of one wheel cog, and then blocks, let's see, what is that, 5, 6, and 7 are another one, and they all have to kind of work together. And then you have 8 and 9 underneath it. 5, block 5 are your key activities. And these are, you have your value proposition. Now, what key activities do you have that your value proposition needs to continue functioning? And again, that value proposition is the problems that your customer is having that you're going to solve for them. And then we go into our key partners, a lot of that network that you're going to have to keep your business moving and keep your business flowing, as well as your key resources. So if you're thinking of your supply chain, so if and some of those key resources with your supply chain, this is where you're going to also want to consider a lot of your risk. So if you have a product that you need, and part of your supply chain where you go to make this product or get this product from, you only have one supplier for that. And let's say that supplier is in Florida. And a lot of times there are, we all know that hurricanes come through Florida. And so it may, a hurricane may come through Florida and put that supplier out of business. So what is your backup? So making sure that you know who all your key resources are, specifically with your suppliers, and knowing who those backups are too. And then your cost structure. This is a really important model. Part of your business model is, and I didn't even think to put it in here, but I have a really great graphic of, let's say you're selling a cup of coffee, and you know that you're going to sell the cup of coffee for $2, and you know what is your profit margins going to be off that, you know, based on how much it takes to buy the cups, to buy the coffee, and the time it takes to brew that coffee, and market it and everything. Like, you know, how much money are you getting in return? So like that's going to be based on how you structure your cost. And a lot of people shortchange themselves, and I see this a lot in the service-related industries. I do photography as my side business, and sometimes people they're like, "Oh man, you're really shortchanging yourself because you're not charging people enough money," or "Oh, you really think they're that great because you're charging people that much money for your service." And so that's where you're going to have to really take a look at your business model and your value proposition, and what you offer people and how you're going to, you know, what you're going to charge for those services, and be confident in your abilities. You know, going back to what makes those entrepreneurial talents that drive entrepreneurial success is confidence. And so, especially if you're in that service related industry, you have the confidence to be able to, you know, do what you do and charge what you charge. And then your revenue streams, that finances, you know, understanding where the money's coming in and how the money's going out. And there's always going to be support there on that. But this is basically a business plan, a one-page business plan, really to see if this is going to work for you. And I highly recommend it instead of having to go out and do a full business plan. If you're thinking about some different ventures, try the business model canvas out and see if that'll work for you versus putting a whole business plan together. So next, now this is going back into the business plan. Of all the things that you're going to have, what I consider are the 4 main must-haves that you're in your business plan that you really need to take a look at is, of course, your concept, what you do, what drives you. Make sure that you have that in there, that value proposition or that opportunity, which is your customer base has this problem and you have this solution, which is your business, that value proposition. Um, and market research. Make sure you do your market research, because you can have an amazing business, but if you have nobody there to buy your products or your services, then you're going to go out of business quite quickly because there's no revenue coming in. So make sure that you're taking a look at your market, and do that and conduct that market research. And there are people out there that can help you with that. And then economics. Financial literacy is extremely important when you're going into small business. You do not have to be a subject matter expert when it comes to the economics, but you have to have an understanding of it. And there are people there that are going to be able to assist you with this, but you still need to have an understanding of your money, and where it's going, how it's going out, and how it's coming in. And of course, those risk and assumptions. That I think is one of those underestimated, overlooked topics in a business plan. There's a lot of things that you just don't realize it's going to happen. And some of it is like, well, what if you get sick? What if your family member gets sick, and you are the primary caretaker? What if there is, a natural disaster? What if there's COVID? Though that we can't expect that one, but any of those risks and assumptions that there may happen. Those are some of the things that you're going to need to look into. Anything that can to risk your business. All right. Next, we're going to go into. So you have your business plan. You know what you're going to need, and now you need access to capital. And SBA can help out with access to capital for small businesses. In fact, that's probably one of the things that we're most well known for. But one of the things with access to capital is that we do not, we're not a direct lending organization unless it comes from our disaster side. Instead, what we do is we work with small businesses, we work with banks, lending community, and we have multiple lending products, and we put a guarantee on that. And excuse me, what that does is it helps mitigate a lot of the risks that are on the bank, and which makes the banks more willing to loan you the money. And let's say a lot of times on average it'd be like 80% guarantee, the SBA guarantee on the back end. So for whatever reason you were to default on your loan, something were to happen, then the banks would not take the hit for the entirety of the loan. The SBA would take a portion of that loan. You're still required to pay that loan, but it does not tie up the lending community's loan assets. And then also with the SBA loans, they are long-term loans, and they have a pretty low interest rate. It's never going to be more than 2 over prime. So whatever market is, it'll be 2 points higher than that. And I can't even tell you what it is right now. Let's say it's like 5%, market's 5%, then we tell the banks that the rate can't be like more than 7%. But that is how the SBA loans work. They have really competitive terms. There are different loan programs. Like I said, we have our primary loan program is our 7A loan, and that is kind of like a catch-all loan. And we have different like sub-programs underneath it, such as the micro-lending, the microloans. Average microloan is about $13,000, and they're through community advantage lenders. We do have a couple of community advantage lenders within the Central South Texas area. The 2 primary ones are going to be an organization called People Fund, and then another one called Lift Fund. They're the ones that are the most well-known in the area to do the micro lending. And that's a lot of times when people just need just that little bit to get over the hump, or they're working on their credit and they still need access to capital. Those are great things great program to use. We have another loan program called the 504 loan program, and this is going to be more for your larger fixed assets. So here we go right here. are your fixed assets, such as you're going to buy a building, you're going to buy large inventory. Let's say you're in the rural areas and you need tractors and things like that. The SBA can help with that. The one thing that we will not do, there are limitations to what we can do with our loans. And so they are not used for those who are looking into getting into real estate and flipping their houses. You cannot use an SBA loan for that, as well as any kind of business. We call them sin businesses. So if you have a pawn shop, as long as I think like 51% of your business revenue does not come from the interest and everything, then we typically don't work with those. If you sell any of like the CBD cannabis that's not federally legalized, so we cannot assist with that kind of business, or anything in like the sex industry and so on. But these, the 504 and the 7A loans, they go up to 500, and then the 504 loans, the $5.5 million. So they're used to fund large loans. I know, especially starting last year, breweries, microbreweries were some of our biggest recipients of our SBA-backed loans. All right, so when you're going to a lender, like I said, they're going to want to see your business plan, and the things that they're really going to look at is they're going to want to see your business plan, your expense sheets, your financial statements, and your financial projections. Those are the main things that they're really going to look at. And we have resource partners, business mentors, and advisors that can help you prepare all of this. And I will definitely get to that in just a moment. So a lot of people ask about, okay, well, what about my credit? Banks are really going to look at your credit. And there is a difference between how your credit is viewed when you're looking at, when you're going through, like, say, Wells Fargo, one of the bigger box banks, versus a credit union. Credit unions tend to look more at the 5 C's of capital, particularly your character. And so this is, if you're not familiar with this, these are how banks determine your credit worthiness. And so when you're looking at your character, is do you as the borrower demonstrate a strength of character, whether it's sound credit reporting, you have a steady payment history. For cash flow, do you have adequate cash flow to pay that loan? Like I said, if you have this business loan, that you're going to get a business loan, do your financials show that you'll be able to pay off all of your monthly expenses and pay off the loan? And then collateral. Do you have any kind of collateral that you can offer the lender in the event that the loan is not repaid? And know that for the state of Texas, it will not include your home. But let's say for your business, you have a pizza business and you've got, the pizza oven, all these tables and chairs. You may have bought that pizza oven for $30,000, but when the banks are looking at it, they're not looking at your collateral for that pizza oven for $30,000. They have a calculation that kind of, that I just can't think of the word now, but reduces the amount because it's not going to be a new product. Capitalization, our business assets, your retained earnings, owner's equity, or the cash on hand, and any other kind of collateral, plus liquid holdings and earnings. Banks want to know if you have like skin in the game, basically. And then there's conditions. The market conditions, industry trends. If you're going into a business that banks, they're not really seeing a whole lot of this, or you have too many competitors, that may affect how a bank will want to work with you, or their willingness to work with you. So when it comes to lenders, we do have a program called Lender Match. It's online. You go online, you put in your information, and within 2 days, a bank will get back with you. I always use the example. It's kind of like a dating app between bank and borrower, and borrower puts it in, the bank gets it, and they're like, swipe left or swipe right. But it's kind of how it works, and they will see whether or not they will want to fund your business. And a lot of times it will not be from businesses or banks in the local area. I've seen it where local banks or local businesses have gone into Lender Match, and a bank out in New Mexico or California has picked up on the loan. So it's just a great tool that you can reach out to these small lenders. All right, disaster assistance. This is something that when it does happen, it happens. And a lot of times there really isn't a whole lot we can do about it, but this is we do offer disaster assistance at the SBA. It is our only direct lending component of the agency. And one of the great things about the disaster assistance program is not just for small businesses, it's also for homeowners and renters, as well as nonprofits. And it really helps a lot with man, oh man, I am losing all my words today. It helps with the business, like what it takes to keep your business running. The economic injury portion of it. There's also one for those that military members. If one, like myself, I am a reserve soldier, and if you have anybody in your business that is part of your management team, especially, but a key component in your business, and they are called away to active duty service, there is actually a disaster loan assistance program just for that. So a lot of things that can help your business no matter what happens. And for the disasters that are natural disasters, or even like droughts, they have to be declared, either presidentially declared or declared by the SBA, by the head administrator, to be a disaster area, so that our disaster team can go in, and we work hand in hand with FEMA on these issues. All right, federal contracting. This is another one where federal contracting can help a small business. The federal government is one of the largest consumers of products and services, and they have a requirement for 23% of all of their business must go to small businesses. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're looking at 23% of $5 billion, that's quite a bit. There are different categories and different certification programs that you can take part in. We recently just changed our women-owned small business certification program, but we also have our small disadvantaged business program, and then we have, which also falls into our 8A business development program. The 8A program is a 9-year program, and that helps you get into business. You're given a business opportunity specialist that works with you as you're going through the program, and it is for those businesses that are deemed socially or economically disabled or disadvantaged, socially economically disadvantaged businesses. And then we have our better known and service disabled better known small business, and businesses that are located in historically underutilized business zones. That is not to get confused with the state hub program. And then that 7% that is other. There is for these, if you're looking into getting into federal contracting, you're going to need to be in business for at least 2 years typically. because they want to be able to see like your capability statement and see that you can actually do a lot of these bids. There are smaller contracts that you can do as well, but it's a great opportunity to get into to business. It's another one of those different markets and additional revenue streams that you can look into for your small business. And then last, we on our website we have this toolkit, and they and I don't think I put the website on here. I do apologize, but I can get that out to you. On this toolkit, it kind of helps businesses, those with disabilities or those wanting to hire people with disabilities, kind of get into that talent pool of people that are available and the things that they can help them to meet their business needs. And it is something that we are pushing more because it really does expand a business's talent pool when they're looking for employees to work with, or if you're looking for employees to work with. And on this next slide, there are some of those financial incentives that you can do more research into. I'm not very well versed on some of the state tax incentives and such, but we do have resources, resource partners are available that can definitely help out with that. And those are the ones that I keep talking about, which is, I think, one of our most important aspects that we do as an agency is our resource partner network. These are all partially approved or partially funded by the agency, and they're there to provide you with free mentoring and advice and free workshops, or some of them are low-cost workshops, but they're all available to you. And there's no limit to the number of times that you can meet with them. There's no limit to the number of mentors that you can have. They're all there for you because small business is big business and small business is our business. And us as an agency is successful when small businesses are successful. Our mentors and advisors are successful when small businesses are successful. And most importantly, our economy is successful when small businesses are successful, because about 99% of all businesses in the country are considered small. And small, as a definition for the SBA, is anybody with less than 500 employees. Now there are some variations on different industries, but that is the general number. And so we have these resource partners that are available to you. For our 55 county area, the service area that we cover, we have these are the resource partners that are available to you. We have two chapters, SCORE chapters, one located up in Austin that covers Travis County and the surrounding counties, and then one located in San Antonio that covers Bexar County and then the surrounding areas, all the way down to Laredo. And SCORE is a group of business owners, former business owners, that want to give back to the community and do it through mentorship. And so I really like that because they can kind of say, okay, Dad, I've done this in the past and this has worked, or, I've done this in the past and it hasn't really gone my way. But, let's go. It's a great way to bounce ideas off of. And the SCORE website, it's score.org. They have some really great training that is offered to you. Most of them are free. Some of them are just nominal fees of like $10. And they cover a wide range of topics. Some of them are just general business planning. Some of it goes into your finances. They have lender networking opportunities. They go into social media marketing, understanding SEOs and different things. But really great training opportunities. And then they have webinars online from their national office that you can go and watch either live or pre-recorded that are really amazing. So knowledge is power, remember that. And then we have a Women's Business Center. We have one in our district. It is hosted by the group Lift Fund. If y'all remember, Lift Fund was that lending organization that provides a lot of SBA products, but they also host our Women's Business Center here in San Antonio, as well as up in Dallas. They're physically located at the Downtown Public Library in San Antonio. And they help you again with the same thing. They're more business advisors, but they help you with the same thing of getting your business plan started, understanding those financial statements, and they have a lot of great trainings that they do. And I know this particular Women's Business Center, they have a Women's Business Accelerator program. So really great programs there. And then we have our Small Business Development Center. Those are typically hosted by universities throughout the country. The ones in our area fall under the Southwest Texas Border Network Office, and that is actually one of the top rated SBDC networks in the country. And that is because the businesses that they advise, they really, their businesses are able to generate a profit and hire more employees. Their primary location for the Institute of Economic Development is in downtown San Antonio. At the UTSA campus, downtown campus. So if you're familiar with their campus, when they start meeting more online, it's over in the Durango building. But they have centers all over. The primary one, the one in San Antonio is over at UTSA, the same place that the Institute for Economic Development is located. Up in the Austin area, it is Texas State. So they cover the Austin general area. We have the Texas A&M International University down in Laredo, the Saul Ross University that is located over in Eagle Pass, U of H over in Victoria, and then Angelo State University in San Angelo, Texas. They all have business advisors there that can reach out to you, and they also do the training programs as well. All of them are, all of our organizations are really great. Oh, I forgot to mention the Veterans Outreach Center, Veterans Business Outreach Center, and that is for veterans and their spouses that are wanting to start a small business. They're the advisors down there. And then the VBOC, or the Veteran Business Outreach Center, is also responsible for the Boots to Business program. So if you're interested in starting a business and you are part of the veteran community in any way, then I would highly recommend looking into those Boots to Business classes. Those are really great. But all of these organizations, they're free to you. You can go out and make an appointment with them. And I strongly encourage you to, if you're looking to start a business, reach out to them. And right now they're doing everything virtual. So it'll be similar to this. You'll be on a Zoom call or whatever services they're using, and they'll work with you one-on-one. If you get up in the middle of the night at 12 o'clock and you're like, oh my God, I have a question about this, send them an email. They'll get back to you when they get into work. They're there for you, and that is their passion and what they do. Yeah, that's that. So I guess at this time, if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nina. That was awesome. And particularly at the end there, when you covered all the different resources. I know Gerald had a question about how does a disabled or veteran-owned business get started in the funding process? And I think your last slide pretty much covered that with the Veterans Outreach Center, the Business Outreach Center, which I would encourage everybody to use if you're a veteran.
Yes, the funding process is really going to be the same whether you're a veteran or not. When you're working, the resource partners that I have listed up there, they have a really great working relationship with the lending community. And I know a lot of times organizations like People Fund and Lift Fund, especially People Fund, because they have a strong veteran outreach, they will sometimes offer special interest, like low interest or no interest for a year type lending programs, but definitely team up with a business advisor, because they're always networking with the lending community and can be on top of those different things that they have available.
Mm-hmm. I know we've met with the Texas State SBDC in Austin, and they've kind of moved away from the startup end of things and moved more towards second stage companies, where they're helping companies that are already started. So if you're on this call and you already have a business and you've been in business for a little while, a year or more, and you're looking to get funding and assistance and so on, the Texas State SBDC in Austin is a great resource for that. But they've moved themselves to just working with second stage companies, so not the startups.
The SCORE Austin chapter and the Texas State SBDC work very, very closely together. So a lot of times what ends up happening is that you almost have like a team of business advisors, where if you're starting off working with a SCORE mentor, and the SCORE mentor will reach out to the SBDC, and there's a whole ecosystem of organizations in Austin that are there to help, and they all talk to each other.
Yeah, that's great. And I know at SBDC too, they have, they're specifically focused on helping people who are getting started on food related type businesses. They have several kitchens that are set up for that type of thing. And we saw in the opening video, there were a lot of CEOs that were disabled folks that had started making cookies or making any different type of food, popcorn or whatever, and have turned those into multi-million-dollar operations. I know the popcorn company, the Kettle Popcorn, that's in Walgreens and Walmarts and just all over the country, and all those very, very successful company. So SBDC does have a special group that does work with those that are looking to get involved in a food-related business as well.
And speaking of that, one of the things that I'd like to mention is that a lot of times you don't necessarily need to have a brick and mortar for your business. And a lot of times it's hard to work from home. There are organizations that do co-working spaces. And then for those who are looking to get into the food industry, there are, where you can rent out a industrial kitchen, the commercial kitchen. And I know, like in San Antonio, the Maestro Center, Entrepreneurial Center has one. Food Shed. There is Cook's Kitchen in Austin does that. And then there are organizations that help out with funding, like the Food Shed, Austin Food Shed Investors.
Yeah, Texas State, the Texas State Technical College out in Hutto. They have a large commercial kitchen operation out there. And so, yeah, there's a bunch of them all over the place. You just got to be real careful about which ones you work with. Some of them are very high end and some of them are not so much, right? So, no, in my experience with that, you want to work with the ones that are more high end. We have a question here from Ebony. What is considered a disability for these programs and services?
So for the SBA services, whether it be our resource partners, utilizing our resource partners, or the SBA backed loans, it's free to everybody to use. For the federal contracting programs, you will work with our business opportunity team. We also have an organization called, there's also an organization called the Procurement Technical Assistance Center that can help you with the justification to, so that you can say, yes, I am, socially or economically disadvantaged. And so that would allow you to kind of cut through a lot of that red tape when it comes to federal contracting. That one, and I see another one for the patent pending. For if you have a patent, I would highly recommend reaching out to our resource partners. And the libraries also work. I know the one in San Antonio works with the patent office. So reach out to your libraries. I think the nearest patent office for here is out of the Dallas area, but they do work with libraries a lot of times, but our advisors can definitely help you out with that.
Very good.
And
Any
I
other
think
questions that we have here?
I
Would
think
anyone
the
else
other
like to ask
one,
another question?
for Ebony, I see the name. Are you wanting to know co-working spaces?
I'm not sure about that. We can come back to the one for, yes,
Okay.
co-working spaces for Ebony, yeah.
So yeah, there are a lot of co-working spaces. I'm not very familiar with a lot of them in the Austin area. I do know like San Antonio and San Angelo and Laredo, but there are a lot of them available. I think WeWorks is also one of them. If you're familiar with like Geekdom, those are considered like co-working accelerators. And then for the Cedar Park, Austin area patent pending for dental services, I would definitely recommend reaching out to the Texas State SBDC. Joe Harper and his team are amazing at what they do, and they do cover that Cedar Park area, as well as any of our SCORE mentors. You can also, I just put my contact information up on the screen. For anybody that has any additional questions or I can help you research something, definitely reach out to me. That email is the best way to get me. The number on there is my cell phone. I have it here. Anytime anybody calls me, kind of attached to it.
Aren't we all?
Yes. Yeah, is there anything else that I missed? Any other questions?
Well, you did a great job, Nina, and thank you so much for joining us today. It was a great presentation.